You know, I began doing this work at a different time. It was 2004, and we're recording this 15 years later in 2019. So very different time around spirituality. I feel like where we're at as a world now, as predicted by many prophecies, is a time where we have a spiritual hunger as a society. And if you look at lots of the ills and lots of the problems, you know, you can boil it down to a spiritual crisis in society, really. So there was always this prediction, and this came from my own guides too. They said that after 2012, you will see more and more people waking up. And this term really just means waking up to all the layers of reality. So there are things in the air, there is energy in this room that this house is holding, there's energy going on here today in this area that's affecting everything, and we're alive to that if we choose to be. So I think that where we're at now, people are waking up, and so needing guides, needing teachers, needing healers, needing facilitators, and I think that's why so many people are feeling called to do it. I think the biggest thing you have to get over is the stigma. For me, certainly in 2004, this was not the career I would have chosen for myself, even though I totally loved personal development work and metaphysical stuff. But like many, there's this stigma around it. Back then, still today, but especially then, people freak out about the idea of channeling or metaphysics. People get very judgmental and closed simply because they haven't had experiences. And I also I think that a lot of religious teaching does kind of steer people away from accessing their own divinity. There are some fantastic religious teachings, and there are many great things, but there's also a lot of fear-mongering that is espoused in some of those circles about, you know, you must only tap into this source. So I think a lot of fear keeps people afraid of walking into it. So I think the biggest thing people have to overcome with this path is to not get caught in the traps of, am I good enough? Am I enough of a healer? Do I really know enough? You know, we're all needed, and there are so many authors and singer-songwriters that I'm grateful for in my life. There was not just one. I needed many voices, many writers, many musicians. And it's the same with spiritual teachers, facilitators, people who stand for that. We're all different. And so some people need a very humorous teacher, some people need a very strict teacher. And the reason they need those is because it mirrors how they feel about it. So the very serious spiritual person is going to go for a very serious teacher. The very humorous spiritual person is going to go for one that's got a bit of humor. So I think this growing wave of teachers and leaders is needed. And so long as you don't get to, I think some of the risks are thinking, I've seen some people power trip about it because they haven't really yet landed in the truth, which is we're all connected to this. It's not some power thing that you have over someone else. So they're the things to be mindful of. And I would say that to people when they're looking for teachers, leaders, facilitators. A really good teacher, facilitator, leader is not going to shame you, judge you, give you a bunch of rules to follow that feel foreign to you or that you really have to adapt. A really good teacher or facilitator, whether it's spirituality or anything, is going to help you get the most out of yourself. So I think becoming a spiritual teacher is a real responsibility, but to remember you're one of many, and that, you know, that in itself is enough. You don't have to be the special one, the powerful one. I see that trap coming up a bit, which I think is just, you know, human stuff that people can overcome.